Well, hey, I want to welcome everybody to what I feel and know is a really important call. And one of my really good friends, Brian Capra. Look, I've gotten a lot of questions about Genesis and their system that I believe brings the best value in chiropractic, the best value in now what we are doing. I'll call it functional medicine, but you all know I hate that term. But you know, when we talked about these types of systems, I think first of all, Brian, I want to open it up because I got a lot of questions about it. What does Genesis, what is Genesis? What does it do? And where's the value? Because honestly, my doc started comparing Genesis to some, other systems like this. And they said, well, gosh, this one seems expensive. And my initial response was, well, it's because you don't know what it does. If you knew what it does, you wouldn't be comparing apples to oranges. And I believe that's what they did. So I really wanted this call just to, for people to understand the difference and also where we're going with this whole thing. So Brian, Genesis, why is it different? What is it?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of feedback from clients that jumping on consultations with my guys and just not really getting it yet. So, and we appreciate that. I mean, it's something different, but I guess comparing Genesis to software or other softwares is kind of like comparing functional medicine to what you do, or comparing a Walkman to an iPhone. It's just two totally different animals, right? And what the value, if you would have been told, or I would have told you, hey, Dan, there's going to be this thing, it replaces your Walkman and it's going to be $500 to buy it. You would have told me I was crazy, 10 years ago. But today, it's not that it just replaces your iPhone, is what it means to your life. And it fundamentally changed the way you use that device, right? It's a totally different paradigm.
Yeah, you mean this thing right here?
Yeah, that thing. And not only did you pay $500 or $600, whatever we pay for those things now, but you're willing to do that again when the new one comes out, right? Absolutely. So you're basically subscribing to the iPhone now. Anyway, so Genesis is a totally different. It's hard to just put aside software in your mind. It's not software. Of course, it has a lot of things in common with software, just like the iPhone has a lot of things in common with the Walkman, but it's not a Walkman. Right? It does something totally different. So Genesis.
By the way, there's many people watching this that have no idea what you're talking about. A Walkman. Okay, that's our generation. Okay.
Dating ourselves. A Walkman was like.
It's the thing you listen to music in. We used to call those Walkman. When I say that to my kids, they crack up. They
don't even know what that is.
Talking about. So anyways,
You played cassette tapes in it. Yeah. No, it seems like not that long ago, but I guess
we actually did play cassette tapes in it. That was like a huge thing.
Making a mixtape. You're making a mixtape for your girlfriend. Anyway, so Genesis and software. Of course, it is technology. Of course, it is software. But it's a fundamental shift in how it's used to optimize a patient experience. So first things first, it is in the cloud in a secure, HIPAA compliant data center, all that stuff. So you can 24/7 you access Genesis from wherever you are. So I know there's a lot of virtual docs out there, Dan. You started as a Genesis client way back in the day, but if you're a doc that travels a lot or you want to see patients from wherever and you want to access your schedule, sync your schedule with your Google Calendar, access, run charges and all that, you can do this from anywhere. All you need is a laptop and internet connection. You can be in an airport and connect to it. It has a lot of the similar functionality as other what you think of like quote unquote practice management softwares, which I have a fundamental problem with that word too. But scheduling, documentation, billing, if you do insurance companies, billing cash and all that stuff, absolutely it's there. Where it starts to shift is one thing what we call patient experience management, or single point management. So think about the patient experience. They come into your practice, whether you're a chiropractor or you do TCD or you're a platinum doctor, you have a lot of different, let's say, call them profit centers in your practice. And for the patient, when they come in, you have to give them the perfect experience. Think of the Ritz-Carlton. They know it's 32 steps to make the bed at the Ritz-Carlton. Everybody carries around the 32 steps in their pocket, and they know that can never, and that's just for the bed. Well, not the rest of the room. It's just the bed, right? So in your practice, you got to realize that when a patient checks in for that new patient visit, to their report of findings, to when maybe they're going over blood work or chiropractic x-rays or report of findings or care plans or what have you, there's literally in what we call the patient life cycle from the day one they come in to daily visits, to reevaluations, to maybe even discharge. There's literally hundreds of steps that have to happen perfectly. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure it makes sense to you. We did have this conversation, so it's a little bit rhetorical, sorry. Yeah, so those steps have to happen perfectly, and the problem is with other technology is it leaves it up to memory management to make sure that those things happen properly. So in your practice, you may have, these are very common things, inventory in your practice. All of a sudden you go to sell a patient a supplement or a product, go to the front desk, it's out of inventory. That's a bad experience. It should have never happened. There's a process for reordering inventory and the ball was dropped. You don't know till it's too late. Patients coming in for care. You're at home, you're at the gym, you're driving your car, you're out with your family. You remember a patient you haven't seen in a while, you go to your office, you look, maybe no-shows weren't followed up on. Maybe they weren't presented with a new care plan fast enough or on time. Maybe their finances were a wreck. Maybe 5,000 other little tiny steps went wrong. And it gave the patient a bad experience, and in turn it causes attrition, whatever the case may be. Insurance claims going out and having been followed up on time. Insurance benefits being verified on time. Care plans being created. All these little things that have to happen perfectly. Secondary insurance being submitted on time, followed up properly. The problem is in other technologies, you have to go to reports to find the work that you have to do. And for you, the owner of the practice, for you to know that your team did everything they had to do, you have to go to those reports and see that they did their work. And they want to do their work, and they're trying, they're working really hard. There's a million things, they got phone calls, but they have to go to reports on top of doing the work. So what Genesis does fundamentally is takes all those steps, even customizing some of the steps, even what we're going to talk about in a second, how to customize them specifically to Health Center of the Future, where all of those little things that have to happen, if they didn't happen, automatically come in the form of a task to your team. So you might have 2, 3, 4, 5 people in your practice, including you. And Genesis will find that this inventory is low on this product and send a task to your team. It'll find that the credit card on file for this patient that's running in a recurring basis, all of a sudden it's getting declined because it expired. It's going to send your team a task. This patient has a care plan that's about to expire. This patient is new. We have to do this, verify benefits, give them the neurotoxic questionnaire, whatever the case, create a task to your team. Right. And so at any given time, in any given day, you can see before the end of the day how many things have to happen for you to optimize the patient experience. And we basically break them down into 3 main categories. It's revenue generating task, patient retention task, and compliance type tasks. And so those tasks, being able to look at basically what is those things that are actually, if they don't happen, are really a patient attrition risk. The patient is at risk for losing, because if you don't do it, they're getting a bad experience, right? So they're going to leave, they're not going to get great results, and they're not going to refer their friends. So if you just do these things, in other words, patients stay longer, so higher retention, patients pay a premium, they get great results, and they refer other people. So it's all, it's the opposite effect. So we're going to 2 different directions. So that fundamental shift in using artificial intelligence to run your practice for you, very similar to a central nervous system, which doesn't exist in any other software, is the fundamental shift in how clients, the Genesis clients, are using the technology. Much different than another software with just a bunch of reports that you're never going to go to, and you miss things until they're too late. You basically manage by fire, right? You lose the patient, then you do something about it. Yeah. You're out of inventory, then you do something about it. Right. You find out why. It's too late at that point. So it really is a shift in how technology is used to help you, the practice owner, usually also the provider, to manage a practice. Because other management softwares don't help you manage. They just give you a bunch of reports that you can't do anything with.
Yeah. I think it takes the human component out of it, right? I mean, it does. I mean, it makes a full system.
Well, here's what it takes: the mistakes or the opportunity for mistakes out of the equation. What it actually does, from a human component, is rather than your team having to memory manage the reports that they have to go to today to find the work that they have to do, that doesn't happen anymore, right? And they're doing that while people are walking in, so their mind is never truly 100% focused on the person in front of them, right? They're like, person walks in, I'm in the middle of making recalls. I got to get back to that report. I'm in the middle of doing this on this report. I got to get back to that report. I've got to go check this. I've got to go check that. I got to remember to do this before the end of the day. I got this checklist on this new patient that just came in. They're distracted. And so everybody knows you can't focus on more than one thing at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think that, it's like we all do it, even though we're trained, right? It's like we all look at the cost of something and goes, oh, that's more, looking at Genesis. Then, as I hear you even remind me of these things, because it's been some years, right? It's like, holy cow, you don't realize the cost that what you just described is costing your clinic. So the cost between Genesis and another one, just with that alone, I mean,
it's huge. It's huge because we've done case studies on this and all this, but just that memory management now, where you can literally turn your brain off from whatever you're doing when somebody walks in, because you can go. There's one place you can go back that tells you everything you have to do before the end of the day, right? So you just turn that off. Now somebody's in front of you. You can just focus laser on them and give them a great experience. Give them, they feel your presence when you're focused on them. Yeah. So now you can actually take care of people and not have to keep 5,000 things. It's like your computer with the RAM, and you have 5,000 windows open. It just slows it down. You can't focus on people that way. But with Genesis, we did case studies on this. We did a study group that all had the same procedures in their office. We took Genesis without single point management, that workflow system, the patient experience system. And then we took that same group of doctors, we took a subset of them and put them on single point management. Revenue went up 62%. Patient retention, 26%. Compliance up 32%. And the kicker, in 33% less time than it was taking them before. So their efficiency and effectiveness of the practice is just exponential. I mean, now you just keep adding to it, and it becomes much more scalable. You have a new team member, you just plug them in, the system tells them what to do. It almost automatically trains them. And what they don't know how to do, because it's what's left at the end of the day, right? So it's really interesting from that perspective, totally different than anything that's ever been done. The only other question now is, well, that's all cool, right? It's in the cloud, has all this stuff. It's what are we going to do together? And what's the next level? What's the real big vision here? A couple of quick things, just integrations that people commonly ask, and we're getting on these calls just to knock them off here. Credit card integration, recurring payments, inventory management, all that's in there. So you can run a one-time card, you can keep a credit card on file, you can run recurring payments against care plans, the whole 9 yards. We do insurance billing, automatically billing out. If you do insurance, we have a billing follow-up service, and that's a percentage based on what you bill out. All those things, it's all in the cloud, 24/7 transparent. Again, with the billing, finds the claims that you need to follow up on. You don't have to go to aging reports. There's reports, you can always look at reports, but claims come to you. Or if we're following up, you could see how many claims we need to follow up on for you. Right. We have text reminders, two-way texting. We have online intake forms. We just have a really nice new review wave integration where patients come in, they get an email asking them to review your practice, rate it 1 to 5. 3 and above, it sends them to your social media sites and has them rate you there. 3 and below, sends you a notification so you can find out why their experience was so low and how you can improve it. Really good retention.
That's huge.
Yeah, very big right now. Dan, some of the things that we are doing together, some things we have, kind of on a small level done together already, but on a bigger scale, what we can do together. The big picture here is, not only is it for your practice and all the efficiencies, but the big picture is, since Genesis is sitting in the cloud, and we can, with your approval and with patient approval, of course, we can aggregate, stack, mush together the data, the patient data. The ultimate game here is, what you're doing is amazing, and all your protocols are amazing, and your products are amazing, and we all know that. But until we can publish research about it, it's just not quite there, right? We got to get it there. The only way to gather massive amounts of patient data in one centralized database is through a system that's in the cloud. The data is being collected in real time. So imagine you do a neurotoxic questionnaire in Genesis now, and all of a sudden the neurotoxic questionnaire, based on the findings, recommends tests. And now after the tests come in and you have the results, it recommends potential protocols. You ultimately have the choice of what to do with them. You put them on the protocol, and now we retest and protocol and retest and protocol. And now we show that through different types of protocols, different types of patients, different segmentation of age and gender and all this stuff, symptoms when they come in, now we can prove the efficacy of the care that we're giving. And that was always the vision with Genesis for chiropractic, and no different with this. So Genesis can be used with a chiropractic practice. We have a lot of Chiro PT MD, and Chiro PT with nutrition over here. And forgive me for lumping this into nutrition. I know it's not, nutrition, but it's very similar. So things we could do together is build those documents. We already put the neurotoxic questionnaire inside Genesis and built that out. It scores it for you. We'll also put the report of findings together, the care plans together in documentation, in a flow, an intake form online. We'll have the inventory, so all the products that are sold in Health Center of the Future practices will automatically populate when you subscribe to the Health Center of the Future app, and I'll show you what that means. You'll get all the inventory of all the products with the pricing and the barcodes. So the patient brings it, you could scan it, hand it back to them. It'll track your inventory and all that stuff, so you never run out. If you're running low on inventory, it'll tell your team to order more. Some things take a little longer to get in, so you might want to set thresholds differently on different products, right? Task checklist. So, you have your new patient, your day 2, your day 3, and your reevaluations and those things. In every practice for HCF, there's very specific visits, right? So what we'll have is the appointment types, which come with colors and lengths and all that kind of stuff. By the way, your schedule in Genesis, you can sync with your Google Calendar. So you can, you can open your phone and see what you have for patient today. But you can also, based on the appointment type, when the patient checks in, it'll maybe open a few tasks to you or your team. Like you just saw a new patient to create a treatment plan, and it'll send you a task to create the treatment plan or protocol, whatever it is. And it'll, in the task, you could open the form for that, do it right inside the task, close the task, and then be done. Also for your team, this might be in conjunction with a chiropractic patient, right? So you check in a chiropractic patient, you might want a new chiropractic patient, a task to go to your team to reach out to them about HCF or invite them to the next event, or you can get very, very sophisticated with what we call the single point management, or the automation of tasks opening up based on types of visits checking in. Or when their care plan is, let's say, 1 visit remaining, they check in, open up these tasks. So we'll have a whole bunch of that stuff for HCF. The documentation we talked about. We have the neurotoxic questionnaire. It's how do we make it smarter and smarter and smarter to give you cues on what you could do, potential testing and protocols from there. We talked about research. I think that's probably the biggest end game here, if you ask me. I don't know if you agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're doing stuff that's very unique, but to pull it all together, that's the key. Now, even more power, even more leverage, and the power comes between the group of these docs, us docs, doing cellular healing, and cellular detox. But geez, when you just look at those things, that the capability of what it's already doing, the value is far beyond that, obviously. But we're going to keep dialing this in better to what we're doing, with our care plans, protocols, connecting in like what tests to run, how it can spit out. That's all going to be very easy with a system like this. But putting that all aside, what you all are offering now is huge. I hope people already see the value difference. It's very easy to see. That's why everyone's putting into your system. Every doc I know is using it, but that's maybe in our circles. I don't know. It seems like everyone's using it.
We've got a lot of docs, and thanks to you, a lot of HCF. Not enough. And I don't mean that from a selfish standpoint. I don't mean that from a selfish standpoint.
I think it's maybe lessened my actual circle in HCF only because it hasn't, your system's the first to really, move into what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of the chiros that I know, the seminars I go to, everyone there is using your system, so.
Yeah. Yeah. And aggregating that data and being able to look at that in a practice that is also doing chiropractic or not doing chiropractic, having that all in one place is we already have the IRB in place. We have the scientists in place. We just need the more data. So we are working on data projects in chiropractic by itself with the universities and things like that. But this would be its own kind of data path, if you would.
So how much is it a month? And how does that compare to the other companies?
It ranges. That's a great question. What is it really costing you is something we do. And no other business that sells, software does this. What we do is a dream practice analysis. The monthly fee can range from like $297. Some doctors pay us thousands of dollars a month, and that would be because they probably do insurance collections with us and all kinds of other stuff.
Right.
But here's the thing: software should never cost you a penny. It should never be a cost to you. There should be a return on investment, if this makes sense. So what we can do is compare and contrast. So we take Genesis, we take what you're doing now. We ask you all kinds of data about your practice, how many patients you see, how long you spend documenting, what's your no-show rate, what's your reschedule rate, what do you bill out, what do you collect, all these types of things. How do you practice? And then what kind of fees do you pay now? And what kind of fees are you not thinking about that you are paying now? For example, if you buy like a Chiropractic, you're not factoring in certain fees that they're not telling you about, right? So what we do is we actually plug them in and add all them up, and then we look at what would be the right fit as far as our products for you. Plug that in, and it actually shows you the cost of what you have now. Because remember, if we're going to increase retention by 26% and revenue by depending on your practice, wouldn't be necessarily 62%, but this is what this tool would show you how much it would be for your practice. Revenue retention compliance, right? If we can increase this much for you in there, it's going to show you it actually is costing you, let's say, I'm just going to throw a number out there. Every practice is different. That's why it's important that you do this for your practice. Let's say it's $2,000 for your current solution or the solution you're thinking about going with. All right, so if you think about switching. And now with Genesis, it's $1,500 a month. Well, it's costing you $500 a month to stay where you're at or go with this other solution. So the opportunity analysis is something commonly done out there in, I'll call it service industries or technology industries, where you can get what is going to be the real return on investment based on a whole bunch of different parameters. It's out there and done very frequently. Why do you think it's never done in chiropractic software? They don't have the data. They don't have the data to look at this to begin with, and they probably don't want to compare. They want to do throw a bunch of demo features at you, get you on a phone for an hour or less, wow you with a whole bunch of features, throw you a contract that's really easy to sign, get you to sign up for it, get $10,000 from you today, and maybe some subscription for support, and then they're gone. So once they have that $10,000, $15,000, including hardware, the sale is done as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
We're a subscription model. There's very low upfront fees, and we're subscription because we believe we prove our value every month. So to answer your question, somewhere between 300 and a couple thousand, depending on the practice. But there's always that comparison, that dream practice analysis, where if we can't prove that we can bring more than it would cost you, we don't even move forward. We don't move forward with those relationships, actually. But most times you don't realize the hidden costs of most of the systems that are out there right now. Well, yeah, go ahead.
How can they get the analysis?
But it's easy. You just go to our website, genesischiropracticsoftware.com. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you'll see a little schedule consultation or schedule demo. I forget what it says exactly, a little yellow button. You just click on that. You can actually pick a time that's available, and it'll schedule you. It'll send you a calendar invite. It'll send you a link for a GoToMeeting event. And that day and time, it'll text you, remind you, and all that stuff. And then you just get on that link on that day and time, and they start the process there. They'll start asking you questions about your practice. How do you practice? You're just going to tell them, obviously, right there, you're referred by Dr. Pompa or HCF. They're still going to have to ask a lot of questions from there because there's a whole bunch of different types of practice that use what you do. But they're going to ask you lots of questions, explain the fundamental difference between Genesis, go through that dream practice analysis, spits out, it's like a 20-page document with all the data points, but one page breaks it down for you, like a summary page. And then they'll send that to you. Then they'll go into the features. They're not going to go. The thing is, what does most softwares do? Feature, 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 cost, and sell, right? We do consultation, return on investment. If that works, then features. You know, it's a different. If we can't prove our value, it's not. But if you're committed to taking just that under an hour to find out if there's a return on investment, most times you'll find it, and then you'll be happy you made the decision.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are crazy not to do that. I mean, look, it transformed our business, you know, back in the day. And I'll tell you what, man, the system that you have now, you know, is far different, far better, you know, than what I used, and it was transformative. So, yeah, look, you know, do it, man. Any other things that you feel they need to know? Because this meeting was for you all.
Yeah, actually, one thing I just remembered. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I just want to show them real quick. If you are already a Genesis client, there we go. I'm just going to log in again because it timed out for me. Yeah, this is the dashboard when they log in. It's really cool. But in the App Store, the way you get to this, you click, when you're logged in, you're going to click on Apps. And you're going to go to Available Apps. You can see all the apps we have available. We're going to plug this video into this page. Like it'll say HCF. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm going to find one I can click on real quick, like Review Wave. This is that, what's the social media thing I was telling you about, where it gets reviews from your patients and posts them on your Facebook and your website and all this. There's going to be a video plugged in here, but just, you know, it'll look like, because I'm already subscribed, it'll look like this for now. We might not call it TCD. It'll either you'll see True Cell Detox or you'll see HCF or one or the other. Right now, there's no cost. You'll just hit subscribe. There'll be a subscribe button. Right now, there's no cost. So if you were to go to where it said HCF, click on it, you would hit subscribe. If you hit learn more, it's going to show you the video, which we haven't plugged in there yet.
Right.
Subscribe. Right now, there's no cost to get the Pompa/HCF/TCD. You know, I would imagine as time goes on and we have these really sophisticated things, there's going to be some cost added as support increases and obviously development cost increases. So I would say you'd want to get on Genesis and get that now before there's a associated cost with the app by itself. So that's just one other thing.
Yeah, we're going to keep adding to it and growing it out. So awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you guys got her dialed in. Well, Brian, I appreciate you come on here. I can wait till you come back.
What's that?
There it is. You're giving them a little tutorial there.
Yeah, that's the schedule demo on the bottom. You just click that button.
Yeah. Yeah. Now people love the system, man. No doubt about it. Well, thanks for coming on. I know that answers the question for people, because that was the question I got, and I kept saying, you just have to see it. You're comparing apples to oranges. So, you know,
right.
You absolutely did that. So the next step is, you know, get the free evaluation, the analysis, dream practice analysis. Go to the website. What was it again, just in case?
GenesisChiropracticSoftware.com.
There you go.
On the bottom right.
And then find dream practice analysis.
On the bottom right, there's a little yellow schedule a demo now button.
All right. Can you bring them to that? Show them where it is on here.
Yep, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, do it. Show. Do it while he's doing it.
Yeah, dude. Where's my hangout? I'll share my screen. Am I sharing it already? All right, you tell me, can you see, if you see me on the bottom right, you click on my little image. So I'm on GenesisChiropracticSoftware.com. You'll see our return on investment numbers, but if you click this little little yellow button in the bottom right,
I see it.
Yep, schedule a demo. Once you click that, it's going to ask you to pick your time zone. You could pick a date, and based on the dates that you pick, it'll tell you what times. You put your information in from there, including your cell phone. It'll text you, remind you, send you an email with the link. You can add it to your calendar from there so you don't ever forget. And then you'll also have a link to the go-to meeting, so it'll be a screen share type of thing. Yeah.
Awesome. Go do
That's
it again.
it.
All right, Brian. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, brother. I will see you soon, I think. We'll see you. Well,
exactly.
worst case, we'll see you in November at the event.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
See you, man.